y'all, welcome back to this week's episode of AMA Friday with Amy Miller, Recruiting in Yoga Pants. All right, so let's talk coaching calls. Not to be confused with informational interviews or mentoring calls. Like, might be some overlap with a mentoring call, perhaps. But when I think of a coaching call, I'm thinking of either you are paying for a service. There's lots of career coaches out there, lots of great people that you could give money to in exchange for what we hope is a very personalized, detailed, and helpful service. But then there's also like, maybe you've just connected with a recruiter and they're willing to give you, 30 minutes and just kind of talk through career goals or job search struggles or whatever. So I do a fair number of pro bono coaching calls every month. I try to carve out, a few hours a month to kind of pay forward to the community and help folks out as much as I can. And of course I do all of this to try to scale that advice and the weekly videos and the blogs and whatnot. So that's my, that's my contribution to society and to this coaching stuff. So, but I've been thinking about this because I've done a number of coaching calls recently. And, I was a little rusty. It's been a little while. I've been pretty busy at work, but I carved out some time over the last few months, started really picking that back up, doing some of those calls. And first of all, I want to say everyone I've spoken with has been lovely, like genuinely kind, appreciative. No one's yelled at me. No one's been super disappointed that I know of. Maybe one guy. No, I'm just kidding. But it's gone well, but it also kind of got me thinking of what I should be doing as a coach to help guide those conversations a little bit more. And I also want to share some thoughts on how you, as the person being coached, can make sure that you're getting out of it what you wanted. So first of all, it starts with setting the right expectations. So understand what a coaching call is and is not. Okay, this is not an informational interview. I have a video on that. So I have a link to a couple of videos up above. I have a video on informational interviews I mentioned, I'll link. And then I also have how to kind of determine, do you need a resume writer or career coach? So not everyone needs a paid service. Sometimes you might just need, bounce something off of a friend. You might need really intensive one-on-one work. That's probably going to cost you, right? So check out those videos, kind of understand the difference. And then of course, understand, am I at the right stage of my career, of my search, whatever, to invest in paid coaching and intensive coaching? And if so, what should that look like? So let's dig into that part. So let's say you've identified, yep, I'm ready. I need that kind of intense support, or I'm gonna grab that, free 30 minutes with Amy or someone like her. How do I want to leverage that? So the first thing, have a very clear goal. What do you want out of this conversation? This could be as simple as, I just want to get to know this possible coach and see if maybe there's someone that can help me. And maybe this is like an introductory call to decide if I want to pay for the service. That's okay. That's your goal. Your goal is to learn more, understand what the service provides, understand how it might fit with what you're looking for. That's a perfectly reasonable goal. On the other end, your goal might be, I've gotten my ass kicked on the job search. Nothing's working. I gotta figure out what's wrong and where I need to tweak it. Also an excellent goal. There's no wrong goal here. I want to be really clear on that. There's no wrong way to approach this conversation, except with no plan. Coming into that conversation and just saying, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I need. I just need to bitch. Okay. That's a venting session. And that's okay. You can have a venting session if that's what you want. But I want us to be really mindful of using this time effectively. So going in with a clear agenda and a clear expectation at the end of it is very, very important. So this is my goal. I want to talk through my job search. I've got some data from the last 6 months of what I've been trying, what's worked, what's not worked. I want to figure out what to do next. Brilliant. Okay, so now we have our goal. Now we're going to take that goal and we're going to create that agenda. We're going to create that plan, right? And so this is where you're going to maybe want to do some pre-work. You're going to want to kind of maybe do a little bit of homework, right? And really jot down your thoughts. What are the top 3 questions that you want the coach to answer or direct you towards? What is the one specific takeaway that you want to be able to use immediately? So this is a big thing for me. I've done, again, not just the coaching stuff, but even like when I speak at conferences and things like that, one of the most important things for me and how I know I did an okay job as a speaker is if I've provided something that my audience can implement tomorrow. So a lot of these are like recruiting driven conferences, and I might share with you a recruiting tool or strategy. I want you to be able to take that and actually start using it immediately. So a coaching session for me is going to follow kind of that same pattern where if I'm coaching you on your job search, as an example, I want to be able to give you at least one specific tool, something that you can immediately go and do. So a lot of times with my job search clients, I will actually give them homework. So they come into it, right? And they have their plan and their agenda. Like, okay, I've been stuck for 6 months. I don't know what's going on. Here's what my resume looks like. Here's the roles I'm applying to. Here's the step that I'm getting to. Maybe I'm getting interviews, but I'm not getting offers. Maybe that's the problem. Okay, cool. So based on that, we're going to talk through it. And we're going to, work. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. We're going to unpack the history and the data points that we have. We're going to see if we can recognize any trends. And I'm going to give you a specific example. So hopefully this person doesn't mind me sharing, not naming names, but someone that I did coach who was kind of in this situation. We started, I kind of got the initial lay of the land, like, okay, this is your background. This is where you are. This is where you've been, this is where you want to go. Like we kind of covered all of that. Then we started getting into the specifics. Okay, well, these are the kinds of roles I'm applying to. These are the kinds of positions that light me up. Great, this all checks, right? Your resume looks good for these roles. Okay, now what? Well, I'm getting interviews. Okay, excellent. Resume is working as intended. Like we're basically confirming what we thought we knew, which was this is a good resume and those are the right jobs. Now let's talk about the interview. So we spent a big chunk of time really digging into how those interviews are going. What kind of questions are you getting? How are you answering those questions? What feedback, if any, because I know a lot of times we don't get feedback, but what feedback, if any, are we getting post-interview? And so by taking those insights, we were able to come up with a trend. And I won't get into the specifics here, but there was a certain style and way of explaining this person was using that did not shine enough of a light on their specific accomplishments. They were very focused on, we and my team, and they didn't want to take too much credit and they didn't want to make it all like, ooh, look what I did. My suggestion was that might be creating a lack of data. That might be leaving the interviewers wondering like, well, this person's really nice, but what did they actually do? Right? And a lot of companies, that's important. The interview process is all about unpacking what specifically you owned, built, delivered, improved, whatever. So by kind of shying away from that and not getting specific and not talking about your accomplishments and the outcome of your work and really getting data driven in those answers, that can sometimes cost us opportunities. So TBD, this person was very excited to kind of come to this conclusion with me and agreed that, yes, that might be the problem. Let me try that differently. So we'll see how it goes. So if you're watching, my friend, keep me posted if that's helping or not. I think it will, but we'll see. So that's an example, right? And so again, that's what I want you to think about as you are prepping for your coaching call. What is my goal? What is like the one thing that I want to get out of this that will create either a next step or a solution or an action or whatever for me? And then what are maybe the top 3, it doesn't have to be 3, but whatever number you want. What are the top 3 questions that I want answered through this process, right? Am I confirming something that I think might be true? Am I learning new information that I didn't have before that I can now pivot from? Or do I need to course correct? Have I been doing something wrong that I now need to change my approach? That's how I would look at it. All right. So I hope that helps. I feel like this one was a little all over the place. I don't know if I was able to like give you a very clear path, but that's what a good coaching call will help, right? That will help you to think through that, will help you kind of get clear, get specific. It's a little like standing at an intersection with a bunch of different roads going a bunch of different directions, and you know you want to get to Omaha, but there's no street signs, your map's upside down, somebody crossed off, the important stuff. Like, what do I do? That's where a coach can help. We're going to stand at the intersection with you. We're going to turn that map around. We're going to talk through options, and we're going to help you decide what is the right next step. Sometimes it's confirming you're doing everything right. It's going to take more time, or we need to look at career pivots, or we need to whatever. And sometimes there's a very, very clear solution that we just didn't see because we're living in it every day. Having that objective third party look at your information, talk through the details with you, and provide some alternative perspective can sometimes be exactly the change that you needed to make it happen. All right, y'all, I hope that helps. Let me know down below, have you had a coaching session? What did you like about it? What would you change? Or would you be interested in a coaching session? How would you leverage that time if you got it? Let me know down below, and we will see you next week.